First of all, I will talk about the definition of cost estimating. Cost estimating is the first step in pricing a project, which entails calculating approximate quantities and values for the scope of work. This is where the cost estimator does the take-off and develop the scope of work. Estimating, pricing and costing is the process of build up prices or rates for an item or piece of work, considering all the parts and activities needed to put it together. The components to be considered including materials, labor, plant, profit and overhead. So, what is the preliminary estimate? A preliminary estimate is known as an abstract cost estimate. Approximate cost or budget estimate is that used in the early stages of project, typically prior to the completion of design documentation. So the owner of project may use the preliminary estimate to assess how much financing they will require or whether they can afford the project with their current funds. A preliminary estimate may often help evaluate whether or not a project will be done before it consumes too much of your time.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Mohammad Adam and I will explain some of the preliminary items that are found in our bills of quantity. So the first one is the CIDB levy. The contractor shall comply to the Part 5 of 11 of the Lembaga Pembangunan Industri Pembinaan Malaysia Act 1994 and the Construction Industry Levy Collection Regulation 1996 and shall submit a notification on Form CJDB L1/96 to the Lembaga not later than 14 days after the issuance of the letter of acceptance or letter of award or any of document that constitute acceptance of the contract of works, or not less than 14 days before the commencement of the work, which date is earlier. The contractor shall then pay any levy due to CIDB within the period prescribed. So the cost for our CIDB levy is 11,500 ringgit. So the next one is Employee Social Security Act, which also known as SOSO. So the contractor shall register all of his employees and contribute under the Social Security SOSO scheme and comply with the SOSO regulation made under Employee Social Security Act, including any amendment thereof, and cause all of his subcontractors also to comply similarly. The contractor shall submit before commencement of work and from time to time thereafter the insurance number of all workers registered with SOSO to the architect for checking. If any default is made by the contractor in complying with the said act, the employer may pay any contribution to the SOSO scheme and deduct the amount of such contribution from the monies due or to become due to the contractor. So the cost for our SOSO is 50,232 ringgit. Next is the site survey. So the site survey happened immediately after taking possession of the site and before commencing any work. The contractor shall check actual level and dimension against those shown in the drawings and immediately inform the architect in the event of any alleged discrepancy. Should any discrepancy occur, the architect and the contractor shall conduct the check jointly and all the levels and dimensions shown in the drawings that are being corrected. It will be held on the contractor commencing work, and assuming that there are no communication has reached the architect within 14 days from the date of commencement, then the contractor accepts all levels and dimensions, and no claims for extra payment in this connection, and with the foregoing requirements of this clause will be entertained. So the contractor shall include for the assistance of a licensed surveyor to carry out a site survey before the work commence, and to assist in establishing boundaries and setting out the works if required by the architect. Before the issue of certificate of practical completion, the contractor shall supply the architect with 2 copies of the site plan prepared and signed by a licensed surveyor, showing that the positions and all the levels are completed work, including other pertinent details as required by the architect to agree as directed by the architect. The contractor shall provide payment setting out marks and benchmarks in position required by the architect. For the survey and setting out, the cost for them is 39,000. Lastly is the temporary holding. The temporary holding is the contractor must provide and maintain all the necessary metal or timber material used for holding and fencing, gates, screens, plank footways, guardrails, and gantries to the architect's approval, and obtain all necessary license and pay for all the fees and charges. So the cost for our temporary holding is 42,040 ringgit only. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mohammad Raffar bin Nawi, and I will start with the signboard. A construction site signboard serves as an important communication tool, providing crucial information to workers, visitors, and the public. It displays directions, warnings, advertisements, and other relevant messages. In the context of this project, the signboard will convey safety instruction, project details, contact information, and regulatory notice to ensure everyone remains well informed. So total cost for this signboard is 4,140 ringgit. And now let's move on to the temporary office. During a construction project, a temporary office acts as a base of operation for project managers, supervisors, and administrative staff. It provides a workspace for them to carry out their tasks efficiently. Equipped with desks, chairs, computers, telephone, and other necessary equipment, this office ensures smooth administrative function on site. The total cost of this temporary office is 74,117 ringgit and 50 cents. To ensure a construction site operates smoothly, site administration and safety are paramount. We have a site agent overseeing the overall project, site engineering handling technical aspect, site quantity surveyor managing costs, site supervisor ensuring the schedule, general clerks providing administrative support, storekeeper managing inventory, and security guard maintaining site safety and security. So the total cost for this administration and safety is 932,608 ringgit. To ensure a construction site operates smoothly, site administration and safety are paramount. Various roles come together to manage operation and maintain a secure working environment. The project includes a site agent for overseeing the overall project, site engineers handling technical aspect, site quantity surveyors managing costs, site supervisor ensuring the project schedules, general clerks providing administrative support, storekeepers managing inventory, and security guard maintaining site safety and security. So the total cost for site administration and safety is 692,124 ringgit and 10 cents.
Temporary water supply. Temporary water supplies are needed where there are no or insufficient mains water supplies at the outset of work on the site. In such circumstances, contractor required to build temporary above ground networks or water storage tanks or water pumps and pipe work. The costs involved in the upgrades for the temporary water supply are pipe installation and monthly bill. The total amount of the bill upgrades for temporary water supply is RM24,178.75. Next, the temporary electric supply. Temporary power supply is a connection on site to give an electricity supply for building or construction work. It can be used for up to 1 year, with a short extension available if work is close to completion. After this time, it needs to become a permanent connection or disconnected. The costs involved for the build-up rates are deposit if required, installation, monthly bill, and dismantle. And the total amount for the build-up rates is RM73,325. Next, the temporary road. Contractor required to provide and maintain the temporary road for the site access within the construction period. Earthwork is one of the major works involved in road construction. It involves the removal of topsoil and any vegetation before scraping and grading the area to the finished formation level. Once the subgrade has been prepared and drainage or buried service installed, the paving construction can begin. Paving can be either flexible or rigid. The cost depends on the site requirements. The cost to be considered in the build-up rates of construction is the maintenance and demolition. The total amount for the build-up rates for temporary roads is RM50,680.50. Next, the temporary workers' accommodation. Temporary accommodation provides fully equipped shelter to employees who are away from their homes. It a form of a comfortable room, dining room, common living room, and others. There is a legal duty under the regulations to ensure that appropriate and adequate welfare facilities are provided at the construction site. The provision of welfare facilities should be considered at the planning stages of a project to ensure that they are appropriately located. The regulation required contractor to reasonably provide welfare facilities which meet the minimum requirements set by the regulations. The cost to be considered is construction, maintenance, and demolition. So the total amount for the build-up rate of temporary accommodation is RM76,647.50.
So keeping site dry, contractor responsible to make sure the construction site is always safe and dry. And within the contract period, it is obligation to make sure they keep the site is dry. So the contractor shall take all measures necessary to prevent sediment, seal the treaters, and etc. from entering any water course. These measures shall include, but shall not be limited to, methods of working covering exposed area, dressing exposed area, the construction of contour drain, interim drains, cache drains, interceptor drains, water crossings, and embankments. So notwithstanding any other measures the contractors may take, the contractor shall be responsible for providing regular maintenance of silt traps, cache drain, interim drains, and other water courses living or serving his site. As-built drawing. Construction drawing is the general term used for drawings that form part of the production information that is incorporated into tender documentation and then the contract documents for the construction work. The contractor shall prepare and cause his subcontractors to prepare as-built drawings showing the whole of the works as constructed and submit these drawings progressively as construction progress. Unless otherwise specified, the contractor shall submit 4 sets of all as-built drawings in paper print, 1 set in electronic format, and 1 set of reduced size drawings in paper print. As-built drawings shall contain all necessary information from approved shop drawings, working drawings, coordination drawings, and as-built records. Progress report. Construction progress reports are prepared regularly, often monthly, by the contract administrator during the construction phase and issued to the client. There will generally be a summary of the report received and discussion held at construction progress meetings. So the contractor shall submit to the architect a monthly progress report indicating individual component progress made in the preceding month. Such reports shall show cumulative progress against scheduled completion expressed as a percentage of all items shown in the approved works program and shall also include a summary of the progress achieved through every phase of the contract. Report shall relate to the key date achievement and indicate the degree of criticality on each activity. Any delays or potential delays shall be clearly identified and a statement given as to the measures to be taken to maintain the key dates. The report shall include projected work activities for at least 1 month ahead of those being reported upon data on labor strength and equipment employed. Progress photograph. The purpose is to compile with the progress report as an evidence to the work done. The contractor shall provide 6 sets of 10 inches by 8 inches color photograph taken by an approved professional photographer from a maximum of 12 approved positions at monthly intervals or at such other times as the architect may direct. The photograph shall be properly serialized, indicating the position where they are taken and endorsed by the contractor. The contractor shall issue to the architect for safekeeping the negative or electronic file of all such photographs which shall be the property of the employer on the completion of the contract.